Hello, everyone, especially my 85 subscribers. Today we are back vlogging. It is Wednesday. Hopefully, this actually comes out on Wednesday. I know my last couple have come out on Thursday. By my last couple, I mean the entirety of this series so far. But yes, today I actually have a couple of things to talk about, which are mostly just like life updates, but good updates. So, yes, first and foremost, I just spent like 10 minutes, so I'm a little bit irritated right now, trying to set up to do this recording on my own setup because I got my computer working. Yeah, kind of. So, I mentioned previously my computer blew up last year. My like nice, expensive, like $2,000 computer. In lieu of it, I got a little cheapo computer that can, like play Sims, a couple of like my point and click games, and it can edit, so that way I can utilize as little space here in Dorian's setup and over on the other side of the office in my setup, and I can be, editing stuff over there. So that's super positive. I wanted to see if I could record at the bare minimum the vlogs over on my desk. Eh, I can record the visuals. Yeah, my 4K camera, while it can't actually capture 4K on that monitor and on that uh, computer, it can do 1920 by 1080. So the visuals, not a problem. What is a problem is my audio situation. I just spent a ton of time like wrapping cords and putting them in protectors and whatever to make sure that nothing was touching like my audio cord when I recorded. My mic literally picks up every microcosm of a sound in the office. Not even in the office, in the freaking apartment. It's so difficult to do like audiobooks and stuff. And I don't know how to change the settings on it. And I'm trying to learn how to, but it's very tedious. Which is where Dorian comes in handy a lot because he's a sound guy. Yeah, so it picks up every single noise except my voice. For whatever reason, my voice, I speak at like a tone and a level and a frequency that my mic is just like,
What did you say?
yeah, irritating. But I have that setup going. Um, I've used it a couple of times. It's, like I said, good enough to edit, good enough to play a couple of my smaller games. Very positive there. So that's something that I've been waiting on. And now we're gonna in this quarter sometime send off my computer, get properly fixed. We tried fixing it, and we tried having the Geek Squad fix it. So it's time to just bite the bullet and send it back to the manufacturer and be like, okay, what up? It broke literally right after the warranty expired, which is suspicious. So, because yeah, that's a really nice computer that if I have to spend like a couple $100 to fix, it's well worth it. On the note of cables and such, we've had a very destructive little boy going through our house. Destructive boy, while some might believe is Merlin, is actually Draco. Draco has this neat thing where he likes to chew on cables. But we have this nice Mr. Fan right over in this corner of the office. And for whatever reason, it hasn't been working lately. And then we also noticed that one of Dorian's speakers hasn't been working, and it's been getting really irritating and whatever. Come to realize when we got my computer working up and running, which by the way, we needed to get like a part that made it Wi-Fi compatible and Bluetooth compatible. That's what was wrong with like my tiny replacement computer. While we were doing all that though and like setting everything up, we got behind my desk and realized that Draco has been utilized. I knew that Draco's been utilizing my desk. He loves looking outside. He has been sitting on it because it's sort of like an L desk. Um, and he just sits on one side of it behind my monitors and just looks out at the birds and the trees and whatever. Well, apparently he gets bored. So while he's looking at the birds and the trees, he's also chewing through very expensive cords. So yeah, we just got some replacements for those. We also are expecting new cords because our cat was not the only destructive one. Um, my neighbor has a podcast. It's called Sexes, Hexes, and X's. which I'll link below. It's funny, they just came out with their first episode. Um, yeah, it's about like witchy things and like kind of naughty things and whatever. It's very humorous. But she has a podcast and she's been borrowing some of our equipment to make that. Well, she borrowed our mic, and as she was coming back over, mind you, this is my neighbor, so she like lives next door, like takes 10 steps to get to her apartment from our apartment. As she was headed out the door, her little black cat decided to just eh, rip off like the little this piece, whatever this piece is called, the part that like plugs in to the mic. Uh yeah, which that piece is a USB-A port, which is very difficult to get a hold of, as we found out. Yeah, so we scoured the internet for it, and I know it's on Amazon, but we've been trying to not buy from Amazon. Eventually, we had to just buy from Amazon. But yeah, so we've been waiting on that cord to do our podcast, Tales and Tales, also linked below. Uh, and that has taken forever to get here, being sent through USPS, which the huge problem I have with Amazon. Part of the allure of shopping on Amazon is you get everything in 2 days. Well, when you send things through USPS, weirdly, they don't come 2 days later. Moving on to a slightly lighter note, the gym. Yes, next week, I think, is when we come out with our gym video, or like our habits video. I didn't even notice Ahsoka was in here. She just like jumped down and I was like, oh, look, cat. Then I realized it was Ahsoka and I'm like, oh, Ahsoka, what were you? Where were you? Because for those that don't know, she doesn't have back paws, so her like jumping on and off things is a little more difficult. But I digress. So yeah, the gym. We have definitely missed days, but I personally don't consider this a failure. Which you'll hear more about it when we actually do that episode. But yeah, we've missed the gym a couple of times. A couple times it was because our schedules didn't line up. A couple times was because we've just been so exhausted because we have been running hard. We're doing so much this year. It's insane. But yeah, we're falling into like this really good rhythm and cycle of what days going to the gym works for us, what times we like going to the gym, what we like doing there. While like the 31 days in a row isn't exactly panning out the same way that we had thought it would, we're definitely developing really good habits, which is what we wanted to take away from this series that we're doing. That makes me feel really good. I've also felt like I've had so much more energy. Granted, I felt exhausted by the end of it. Like I am so in love with my sleep now, not because it's just like an escape, but because I'm very physically exhausted by the time I'm done. And I don't credit that entirely to the gym, but I do I do attribute my energy to us going to the gym almost every day. And having all of that energy has meant we've just been doing a ton more. So by the end of the day, Dorian and I are like dragging. We're ready to go to bed. Um, Dorian, he has been punching things out left and right on YouTube, and he has been like social media stuff going up. He's been a rock star with the apartment. He also work. I've been rocking it out at work. I've been doing really good so far with maintaining all of like my stuff, spending time with people, going out and doing stuff, finding things for the future, working on the move, all of these things. I've had so much energy to do them. So yeah, I'm really, really enjoying having energy and then at the end of the day, having my battery be on empty and feeling really good with the sleep that I get, even when I sleep in, because we've done that a couple of times. Slept in an hour or two later than normal. Uh, I feel really good about it. I don't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm so late. How am I doing this? Why am I doing this? I feel like it's honestly really well deserved. Speaking of deserved, that's a good way to segue me into like my next point of interest in my life right now topic, which is work. which yeah, this last week I found out something interesting. First, I switched my schedule up, so I'm now working at nights. That way Dorian can stream at night, which is better for, getting views and having a more attentive audience. And then he doesn't have to feel bad about me being home while he's streaming, yada yada. But so I switched my schedule. So instead of working mornings, I'm working evenings, and that is exhausting. I far prefer mornings because I don't get time to think about how much I don't want to work. Think about like any negative aspect of my day. I just wake up and I go. And yeah, and then like I said, I'm on E by the time the day ends. So when I work, I'm like really on E, running on fumes. This last week at work, I found out something interesting. And that's that my job is beginning to do this new like tiered system for how to essentially they want to take out the guesswork for some of the clients while also more adequately paying their therapists with having some sort of verification behind it. They're essentially trying to institute a three-tier level of how to pay people, which is not just how to pay them, it's how to like grade their massages, which is both I don't know. I go back and forth on like, well, that doesn't exactly seem right because I know that there are definitely that come right out of school and are very talented. And then there are other people who have been in this for like 10 years and they know how to give a dang good massage because they've been doing it for 10 years. So, what my work is doing is essentially they're trying to institute three different tiers of therapists: normal, I think, elite, and master, which will put you into three different like tiers of pay. And if you are just normal, hired on, whatever, then you're a normal therapist. If you've been specifically with the company for 2 or more years, you can then apply to be a master, and you get put through some extra training, and it counts towards like continuing education hours and whatever. Once you complete all of their courses, then you become a master. So you're bumped into a different tier of pay, and clients can then book if they want a master therapist instead of just a regular therapist, they can book you. I really hope they have a way to distinguish that other than just like, oh, their massage is better than their massage. I really hope they emphasize like the different level of education or the different styles and modalities that they offer, as opposed to just like, oh, this person's okay, this person's looked at above. Yeah, and then after you're with the company for 3 to 5 years, I think, you can apply to be a, an elite or a master. I forget the order that it goes in. But yeah, super interesting 'cause it also bumps up your pay and then offers more that you can offer your. So yeah, I've been doing massage for 10 years. I've been with this company in particular. This will be my third year. So I can apply to be like top tier person. Um and my boss did say that she's trying to fight back on this, which was interesting. I understand where she's coming from and that she doesn't think that like obviously the town that we live in is really the kind of place for a business model like that. And at the same time, when she said I'm fighting against it, what I heard was I'm fighting against a way to pay my therapists more. No, that's not what she was going for, but that's what I heard. But yeah, so um with the move coming up, Dorian and I are actually moving to one of the like central corporate hubs for the company that I work for. If I regardless of whether or not my boss wants to institute here, I can still apply for the accreditation, and then when I transfer, the accreditation will transfer with me. I just have to present that I finished the courses. So that's something that I'm presently working on is guaranteeing myself a pay raise once we move. So that'll be that'll be fun, interesting. Yeah, to right off the bat move to a different location and then instantly get a pay raise as well. Like, I don't know, that it all just bodes in a nice little fantasy for me. Yeah, I think those have been pretty much like where my brain's been at this week. Getting new stuff for the apartment. Oh, we also, I think I mentioned this last time, but this might have just happened this week. We got a new chair, which hasn't arrived yet, but we got a new barrel chair for the living room. We got a new hanging hamper, which I do remember I talked about that in my last. But yeah, we got the hanging hamper on top of new cords and getting the pieces for my computer. So yeah, that working on the move, all that stuff's been pretty time consuming. The gym, yeah. Um, but I felt really good, and I attribute a lot of that once again to like going to the gym and getting energy and feeling like I'm doing more for myself. So yeah, a lot of very like instant gratification happening right now. Actually, during my coaching session this last week, I was like, I don't know what to talk about because everything's kind of going great. So hopefully this cycle just kind of keeps. But that's where I'm gonna leave this here. Stay tuned on Saturday for a new mystical magical Sims video, and Sunday where I get to explore the back room. So, if you made it this far in the video, go ahead and leave a like. Comment below how your 2023 is going so far. If you're experiencing the same sort of like uphill momentum since the new year started. Subscribe if you are new to the channel, or if you're not new and just haven't subscribed yet, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!